This is Prinzessinnengarten in Berlin-Kreuzberg. It started in 2009. We call it a social and ecological urban farm. It's located in the center of the city. We grow 500 different species. We grow it organically with the help of hundreds of volunteers. And we are kind of a social business because we don't get any funding from the city. We have to finance the project by our own economic activities, and one part of it is our restaurant and our bar where we use the products from the garden. What we think about this kind of places is not see them as in-between uses. They're here for a while and then they're gone and then we do something completely different. But see them really as a kind of pioneer use that shows what is possible in a specific place. We focus not just on maintaining the garden here, but on the overall question, how do we deal with public space in Berlin? And how can we deal with public space in a way that makes it possible that initiatives like ours create alternative forms of urban life. So now there's this threat that this piece of land is going to be sold. It's owned by the city Berlin itself. In our campaign we do like 3 major demands. One is 5 years more for the garden for different reasons. Most of all, we are a social enterprise. And here's 13 people full-time working in summer in this garden, and we have to make sure that we don't have to fire them from today to tomorrow. And for all our social and educational projects, we have to get money somewhere, and it's only possible if you can make sure that you will stay for a longer period of time than 12 months. So this is one aspect, this 5 years. Another very important aspect for us is if we're dealing with public property, the people who are immediately affected by it should be part of the decision-making process. So what we demand is a form of participation that is not just formal, but really reflects the fact that we are living in a very diverse neighborhood with a lot of also social and educational problems. So we should also find new ways of addressing the people and new ways to get them involved. And our third demand is that Prinzessinnengarten is just one example of what's going on in the city. And the threat is that all this open spaces that people created themselves bottom up, we're losing due to a policy that's just operating for short-term financial profit. So what we say is, if we want to maintain these places and if we want to maintain this very Berlin-specific also quality, we have to find new frameworks, and we have to integrate this kind of places into city planning and be serious about it. Because until now the city is just using the spaces as a tool for image. So they say, oh, Berlin is so beautiful, come here, visit Berlin, because we have this very creative, unique places. It costs them nothing, and they do nothing to really give these initiatives a security for their work. What I see when I see people gardening in the middle of the city is a specific attitude. You know, it's the people taking care for something living, and people taking care for something fragile, and people taking their time to do so. So for me, gardening is also an attitude that we can transfer to the question, for example, of city planning, that we need to think about things as growing. Needs time, nourishment, protection to really maybe get bigger. So we should look carefully at these very small places so that it can nourish, and that we have processes of cultural pollination where things happen around these places. And this is, I think this is really the potential.
Well, how can people choose? Do you have any